Hey, everybody. This is the customer success, customer support executive brain trust put on by Y Meadows. This is the after party. And we just had a very productive hour-long meeting. And the discussion was around metrics that matter. What are the metrics that matter to the C-suite? What are the metrics that matter to the board? How can you figure what those are? How can you figure those out? How do you approach those? And we actually had Kevin speak. Kevin Horman, he has worked with many big, large companies, including DocuSign, and he kind of shared some best practices with us. So Kevin, if you could join me up here and kind of give an overview of what you spoke about. And then after that, we actually built a mural together and we want to review those top results. So Kevin, what are some of the key takeaways you think came out of today?
Sure. Well, for me, the main takeaways were, ensuring a repeatable process with the C-suites. You're talking about the same things over and over again, having to be part of your budget conversation that you go through, really focusing on the outcomes of the metrics, not the how you're doing it, but, the why you're doing it. And getting into ones that are particular to data points the C-suite or CEO could use again, have it not just end in that conversation with them, but give them something to take away, something they can give to the board or other CEOs, or talk about in some other forum. So just make the metrics meaningful, really, at the end of it.
Yes, very good. And I think that a lot of the submissions that we got on the mural reflect that. They reflect everything that you just covered. So Kevin, again, thank you for coming in and speaking with us. And then also after Kevin spoke, we co-created a mural. And so what we did is we put people into small groups and we asked them, what are the metrics that matter to the C-suite overall? And you can see here, a lot of ideas are generated. And then secondary to that question, how do you find those metrics? What are some considerations in how you find those metrics that matter in case those metrics, maybe you're not applying those in your own career, or maybe you're not applying those in your own company. So then after we generated this massive brain dump here, then everybody went through and I gave them 3 votes to vote on to determine what are those metrics that matter? What are those considerations? So I'm going to actually show the voting. I'm going to show the results page. And this is what we came up with. And so now I've got a great group of CS executives here with me on the call. And I've got some questions for you all. We see NRR trending. So my question is, I'm going to stop the share here. Why do you guys think NRR is so important, and why is that so applicable to the C-suite and the CEO, to the board, to the board maybe? Who wants to jump in and kind of talk about NRR and why the importance of NRR? Okay, so Saurabh, I'm going to have you jump on, unmute yourself, please, and talk with us a little bit about how NRR has impacted your organization, and maybe overview what NRR is really quickly.
So we refer to it as net revenue retention. So it's in the SaaS model, it's the amount of money in the contracts, especially the subscriptions, that you retain year over year across all your existing subscription base, not including the expansions or any new business. And so there's a couple of reasons this is important. One, if you're VC funded or you're looking to go do additional rounds, this is a metric that they're taking a look at. They're trying to see how well can you keep your customer base, how happy are they, how happy are they. And as a result, it's a bit of a composite metric, because if your NRR is strong, then you can tell that you've got decent retention practices in place. If it starts to falter, you can dig into the other underlying metrics that can tell you where exactly your issues stand from a retention perspective. Whether it's purely on the retention side, or is it also on the adoption side and on the onboarding side, in terms of, can you get customers actually stood up? And once they're stood up, are they going to stick around?
Excellent. Thank you for that anecdote. I think that's very, very applicable and a great explanation. Does anyone else have any other nuance, any other ways that they use NRR, or recommendations on how to use that and work with that and maybe display it? All right, Colin, come on. Colin with FreshBooks, come on and let us know how you use that metric.
Yeah, we use net revenue retention mainly around the segment of our customers that costs the most to acquire. So, you might be working at an organization where the customer base, you obtain them in various ways. A lot of it might be organic through marketing, but if you have a sales team that are targeting a certain segment of customers, and then you're putting that segment through an onboarding process after the sales cycle's done and they close, like those are the kinds of customers you'd want to monitor net dollar retention for. If you are choosing a segment instead of your entire base to look at for that metric. So that's the way that we do it. And then, we can really go back and look at our onboarding process, or 90-day onboarding process for these customers, and see if maybe there's something that we could improve there. And even right back to the sales acquisition process. So that's how we use it. And we do it on a monthly cohort basis.
Excellent ideas. Thank you very much, Colin, for that. And I love that you brought up adoption. Adoption is one of those things where you really want to look closely at that, because it's a good predictor of future customer behavior. All right, well, let's move on to this. The other two that came in were CSATs and NPS. Can we have someone else come up on board and tell us a little bit about how you're applying CSAT or NPS inside your organization? Sridhar, let's have you speak about that a little bit.
Sure. So CSAT refers to customer satisfaction. So anytime a ticket is solved, you kind of send a survey to the end user, who is the customer, and then they respond that they're satisfied or not satisfied. So it's a simple, straightforward yes or no kind of a question. And so this also helps gauge how we are performing, given the scenario that all of our service or effort is actually oriented towards keeping the customers happy. So that's a direct indication of how effective your support or help has been. And then also it gives the ability to view the other side of the coin. Like when we receive somebody is not satisfied, you can actually follow up and see what was the cause for the dissatisfaction, so that you are able to actually keep that as a learning for future, and also help address that with the specific customer that you had.
Yes, thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. A question that I have for you, because, are you folks out there, are you guys using, and this is for the whole group, but are you using CSAT and NPS? Or do you find that you migrate to NPS and one or the other? I think about NPS. NPS is a great marketing tool. Like the marketing team's really going to like NPS, because generally with SaaS, people understand what NPS is. But there's also a challenge with NPS that, depending on the industry, people may not know what that is. So I just wanted to open that up and ask, can someone speak to that? If you choose between the two, are you using both? Why do you use both, etc.? Anna, go ahead.
I chose to use both. One, because I want CSAT to be a support measurement of satisfaction with the tickets, and that's what I drive the feedback into, right? The response time, the resolution time, how long it took to resolve A, B, or C. Now, the NPS as a different metric, the NPS not being like just only a customer success metric, but a company metric that tells us exactly what the customer is thinking of us as a group. So I always tell my CSMs, hey, if you get a 5, if you get a 3, this is not your score. This is the company's score. We need to dive into those, into the feedback to understand how they see the company. Then I can tie into the CSAT. Then I can tie into the NRR. Then I can tie into the time to value, into adoption, and things like that. So, but I do separate both, because I think in my mind, even though they can in parallel go together, even the customers understand that they are completely different.
I just want to say to that, hell yes, because you explained that so well. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Is it Anna or Anna?
Anna.
Anna. Okay. Thank you so much for that, Anna. Well, folks, that wraps up our session for today. You can kind of see the value that was generated and created I've got a little baby with me that I got to go attend to for here in a second. But again, I want to thank Alan Rich at Y Meadows for putting this amazing group together. I want to thank Kevin Horman for bringing such valuable insights. And I want to thank all of you for your contributions to this conversation. High level, if you're out there and you are like, hey, I want to talk to some CS executives, this is your place to do that. There's very smart people here sharing best practices, having cool conversations with cool people. And with that, I'll sign off and see you all next month.